Vice President of Hale Farm Village, and she's taking us on a little tour of the village. Tell her, where are we heading now?
This is the Jonathan Herrick House. The Jonathan Herrick House is unique because it is a stone structure from Twinsburg. It was moved here stone by stone in the 1980s and opened in 1997. It was built in 1845. It was a dairy farm then, and we interpret it today as the nucleus of a dairy farm within our village.
Nice. Is the house open?
The house is open for public tours. Inside, our interpreters interpret life as it was in the year 1861, or more broadly the Civil War era.
Right.
And we demonstrate wood stove cooking inside.
Oh, wonderful.
Yes.
Okay, and here's an important landmark.
Yeah, this building is the Benjamin Franklin Wade Law Office from Jefferson, Ohio, up in Ashtabula County. And historically, this building is one of the most historically significant buildings that we have. Benjamin Franklin Wade was a very well-known national politician. He was a senator before the Civil War and during the Civil War era. And in this building, we talk about the early survey and settlement of the Western Reserve. We've got a Civil War era soldier who musters children, has them march, and do that sort of thing. So a very important, a small but extremely important building that we have here on site.
Wonderful.
We have a barnyard behind you.
Yes, a cow over there.
This is part of the again the Herrick family farm, or the village farm, as we call it. The visitors there, they are visiting with Jonathan, our bull calf. And then just beyond Jonathan is a brand new pig pen, and in it we have 2 Poland China hogs. Poland China hogs were they're a heritage breed of hog, and they're historically appropriate to the time period that we're interpreting here at the farm.
Wonderful. Okay, and then we're going to head towards the meeting house?
Yes.
Is that?
Yeah, the meeting house is, that's an 1852 building that was moved here from Streetsboro, Ohio. And the meeting house was used, as a place of worship, but it was also used as a public meeting place for town hall meetings. Singing societies would have practiced there. So, more often than not, really the center of a town's activity and social life. I do want to point out this stone block. That's the village horse block. And its purpose was simply if somebody was getting let off at a carriage, they would step out onto the village horse block, and maybe a gentleman would take their hand and lead them into the church, and then they would sit there for most of the day in Sunday meeting.
Right. Is that authentic then?
It is, yes. The building that we're looking at now, this other small white office building, is Ephraim Brown's land office. During the earliest days of the Western Reserve, there were land surveyors who came out to this area from Connecticut, and they mapped out this whole area known as the Western Reserve. And then people like Jonathan Hale, who came here from Glastonbury, Connecticut, they purchased land from the Connecticut Land Company. So that's a story that we tell in that office building. We really focus on the survey and settlement and early period of the Western Reserve when the land was being mapped out and people were purchasing it really sight unseen. Right. Coming out here hundreds of miles away to try to make a new life for themselves and for their families.
All right. Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Kelly.
You're welcome.
I'm here with Marty, who's the resident blacksmith at Hale Farm Village, and it is a beautiful day on their opening day, June 1st. And what are you working on today, Marty?
Well, right now we still have a lot of school groups, so
Yes.
I'm just doing some demos for school groups, which are S-hooks, this and that.
Okay.
But out of this shop, make and/or repair whatever's called for. Hinges, door pulls, latches, chains, whatever's needed. My work touches every building down here in one way or another.
So what's the process here?
Okay, wrought iron and steel is considered to be the black metal. The
Okay.
word smith comes from the word smite, which means to work. So the person that works with black metal, blacksmith, makes and/or repairs hinges, door pulls, chains, nails, tools, parts of the plows, wagons, kitchen tools, whatever. Start off with bar stock, as you see on the wall over here. I'll cut it to the length needed, heat it in the fire to make it soft, and then hammer it into whatever shape needed here on the face of the anvil. A good example would be this kitchen tool right here. The spatula is made from a kit. There's the kit.
Wow.
I'm holding the same thing in both
Wow.
hands. It would take a number of hours to change the shape of this piece of steel into looking like this.
Right.
But that's what they had to do back then, and that's the way this one was made.
Right.
Now, since it's so hard, we heat the metal up in the fire over here. This is a coal forge, properly maintained coal fire with forced oxygen into it can reach between 3,000 to 4,000 degrees, which makes for a real fun summer afternoon.
Right.
Heat the metal up to a bright orange color, neighborhood of about 2,000. Bring it out to the anvil and hammer it into whatever shape desired. Here on the bench there is a rose
I saw that.
I had made,
It's
but
beautiful.
back then did they make a table decoration? No. Did they though forge foliage out of iron? The answer is most definitely yes. Fern leaves, grape leaves, groups of grapes, orchids, roses, sunflowers, but they were incorporated into fancy gates, grill work, chandelier, sign brackets, going back at least to the 1500s.
Okay.
So did blacksmiths do that over the years? Yes.
And then, so let's see, pull that to get the oxygen flow.
This up here is known as the great bellows. It's a two-chambered bellows in order to pump enough oxygen into the fire to raise that temperature of that fire up.
All right. That's how it's done.
Get the point?
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Marty.
You're welcome.
Go ahead. For more information on visiting Hale Farm and Village, visit www.halefarm.org.